Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We have been working on this NBA Fast Break pinball machine that we've had here in our shop for years. Years and years. We bought it from an operator out of a storage building. He sold us the whole storage building full of stuff. And so this thing's been around our shop, and people keep coming in asking us when we're going to fix it, when we're going to fix it, when we're going to fix it. We've been working on other people's games, so we finally decided that we'd go ahead and work on it. So we did a video before where we kind of got it to boot up, did some light bulb stuff, and this is what we're working with so far. We've got the display out of it, we've got the back box out of it, and the operator had removed the audio visual board, we figured out it was. It goes right there. So it does the audio and the visual. That's why they called it that, apparently. So it runs the display and it runs the audio. It's out of the game. Obviously, there must be some kind of problem with it. I don't know what the problem is, but we might find out in this video. So it was in the bottom of the cabinet, and then as I looked around in the bottom of the cabinet, I found two proms that probably go on it, and that's where we're at. So I guess what I'm going to do is pull that thing out. We'll get a good look at it. We'll see if those chips go on it and just see if I can figure anything out about it, and then we'll try putting it in the game and see if we get anything on it. So I don't know if the game's up and running. I mean, it's obviously up and booted, but we haven't been able to start it yet because I can't read whatever it's telling me on the display. I'm sure it's saying that the batteries are dead, but I've been able to get past that by turning it off and back on, and the residual power in the power driver board lets it boot after that. So next step, I want to get that board in, and I want to get the display where I can read it. Also, the audio part of the board will give you a error code. It'll go boom, 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 and tell you what's wrong with it if it's at least halfway booting. So that's what we're going to attempt to do. So let me get that board out, and let's see what we're working with here. So here is that board. I don't know how it mounts in there, but we'll figure that out. So they call it the audio visual board on this WPC 95 stuff. So this looks like the audio part. Maybe. No, that's probably the power supply for the display. And so you have these ROMs up here. And if you look, two of them are falling out of their sockets as we speak. And then two of them had already fallen out of their socket. Now, maybe there's one more missing, I don't know. So then you have these two chips that are not there. But I looked that up on the previous video, and that has to do with the linking kit. So this game, NBA Fast Break, you could link to another NBA Fast Break. Of course, that would cost you another $4,000 or $5,000, so we're probably not going to do that. Let's see who this is on the phone. I don't know. It looks like it might be something decent. I'm going to answer it. It's okay. Okay, so let's see here. Maybe it says on it where they go. What do you think? SU6, it says. Is that IC6 or something? S6. That's right. S5. Let's see if it holds true. See, it says SU4. That says S3. Yeah, so I got something off here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to have to look it up. So the other two that I have are SU3 and SU5. Boy, it sure looks like this is SU4 and that it should go right here, and 3 should go here. Where am I wrong? What mistake am I making? So if they had it like this, that would explain why it wasn't working. Maybe that's why they took it out. Maybe that's the only problem, is they had one EEPROM in the wrong spot, and then once they took it out and put it in the bottom of the game, a couple of more of the chips fell out, and these started squeezing out. I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities here. So I'm going to look in the manual and see if I can figure it all out. So there's a little drawing in the manual of talking about how to do the link kit, and the bottom left ROM is missing. That's S7. All right, and so at the beginning of the manual, it shows you all of the ROMs too. So it shows you that there are 2 on the CPU, and then there are 5 on the soundboard, and we've got 5. So it's at 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this number 7 isn't used. But the problem that we're going to run into is, yeah, that one's in the wrong spot. So that's at 3, and they've got 4 in there. But even worse, they've got them all in backwards. Not good. Maybe they didn't turn it on though. Okay, and they may still be all right if you. It's a 27C801. So the board is set up to send signals to this chip and to grab signals from this chip and blah blah blah, right? And so it's giving it a ground down at this corner, and then it's giving it voltage at this corner, 5 volts. If you put the chip in backwards, you are now putting the 5 volts. Let's rotate it in our heads here. You would be putting the 5 volts where the ground goes, and then you would be putting the ground where the 5 volts goes, which means you would be supplying the chip with negative 5 volts, which sometimes it does not like. The other ones you'd probably be all right because you would they all accept either ground or 5 volts. So if the CPU is sending like an address signal to something, and instead of sending it to an address, it's sending it to a data line, that would probably handle all that. The enable line, same thing. Instead of sending it 5 volts or ground to turn on or turn off the chip, it would be sending it a clocked signal. It would probably handle that. But the voltage being negative 5 might be a problem. But a lot of times it's just fine. Now on the older chips, it was a bigger problem because you would have things like 12 volts on the chip or something weird like that, and that would really cause problems. But maybe we'll get lucky and it didn't burn anything up. So I'm going to move all the chips around where they go, and then we'll look at that power section too while we're at it. All right, so I'm looking on the back of it. It's a little scratched up where it's been in the bottom of this game. I think for a while it may have even been up on the play field of the game, just laying in there. The operator did that, of course. So you got some scratches. I moved the pins around a little bit so they're not touching each other. And I think it's going to be all right like that. And then there was a resistor over here that had gotten pretty hot, so I cleaned it up a little bit and added some more solder to it. Make sure it's making good connection. I'm going to check these 3 transistors just to make sure one of them's not messed up outside of the game. And these 4 fuses are all fine. And I put the chips all back in the correct sockets and facing the correct way. So who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky. What do you think? Will we get lucky? So I guess I'm going to check those 3, and then I guess it's time to put it back on the machine and see what she does. Okay, so the 3 transistors tested fine. I plugged in the transformer voltage that comes up here. This is going to create the voltage for the DMD display. I've got the plug plugged in that goes out to the DMD, but the DMD is not actually plugged in, so that's not going anywhere. And then this is the voltage that comes from the driver board down here to run the digital side, the soundboard side, and the display side, I guess. So we're just going to turn it on and see if it blows any of these fuses, if anything crazy happens, and then we're going to check the voltage on the DMD connector. It probably won't boot this first time I turn it on because it's been off for a while, but we're looking for smoke. So it's literally a smoke test. There is an LED on there. It probably won't work right though because I don't have the ribbon cables plugged in from the CPU, because I don't want there to be any possible way for power to go back to the CPU. So let's say this thing's all screwed up and there's freaking 100 volts on something and it catches on fire and everything else. Well, you don't want any of that crap connecting to the CPU. So we've got nothing that goes to the CPU connected to it. So let's see what happens. Nothing happened, really. But maybe the CPU turns it on or something. But even the LED didn't come on or blink or anything. Okay, but now that we're up, I'm going to check the voltages on that DMD connector, and we'll go from there. All right, so we've got 56 volts, 12 volts, 5 volts, and then up here we've got negative 119, something like that, and we've got negative 95 or something like that, which is a little higher than it's supposed to be. It's supposed to actually be more negative than that, but it may be because we don't have the DMD actually plugged in. And it's just off a little bit, so I'm not too worried about it. But so nothing's way out of spec, so I'm going to turn it back off and plug the ribbon cables in and plug the speakers in, if I can figure out how that goes, and then we'll see if we get any kind of sound or video on it. Alright, so I put the display back in, I plugged up everything on the audio visual board. It may give us a bunch of screeching and beeping, so prepare your ears. If it goes beep, 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 it's giving us a code of what's screwed up on it. That's one possibility. Second possibility, it might screw everything up. Third possibility, we may actually see something on the display. Fourth possibility, all of those EEPROMs are bad, so the thing doesn't know how to run, so it won't do anything. So that could be. So we'll see. So literally smoke test. Ooh, it beeped. It blinked once. 10 beeps. All right, let's do it one more time. Look at the horrible ripple in the display. That looks like a cap problem, doesn't it? So we're going to turn it off and turn it back on and hear those beeps again. I'm pretty sure that was 10. Yeah, okay, so 10 beeps. It's saying press enter for test report. I did. All right, are we in a track now? I mean, the playfield's in a track, but is the, yeah, there we go. So it wants some coins. Our coin switch isn't working. That would explain why we couldn't start it up the other day. Oh, I see why. There's some wires broke over here. Let's see if I can screw around with it and get some credits on it. I don't know that we're going to get any sound at all because the that beep is telling us, I believe, that the RAM is bad. Yeah, it's a two-hand job. So we can't credit it up right now unless the... Is there a service button on these? I don't think there is. Nope. All right, so at least the DMD is halfway working. Look at that ripple. Look at that. So usually I say, oh, it's just in the camera. You can't see it here in person. No, you can see it here in person. It looks just like that. So that's probably those two caps. Might be those two caps. Those are probably for the sound amp, but probably those two caps. So we can work on that. So let's figure out the thing with the beam, 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 beam. I believe that means the RAM is bad, which I believe is this RAM chip right here. Which I probably won't have another one of, but I might. It can be ordered. All right, so in the manual it says 10 beeps means the audio static RAM has failed. So there we go. So we're probably not going to be able to get any audio, although it can beep. So if it can beep, I mean, why can't it talk? I don't get it. It's something, but that's what's going on with it. So we need to replace that RAM chip. All right, so that big RAM chip that I've been looking at, it's actually not the right one. That's the RAM chip for the display part. Remember, this is doing audio and visual. So if you look in the schematics, that's this chip, U25. And if you know, RAM's always basically, at least this type of RAM, I guess, the way they're using it, whatever, what do I know? It's usually connected to a CPU, and so this one is, and this CPU says all kinds of stuff on it like column latch, row data, row clock, display, 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 display. Obviously that's the video part, right? So if we go up to this other board, this other schematic, it shows all of the ROMs. Well, we know the ROMs are the sound part. And there is a CPU up here, right? And then if you look down below it, it actually shows 3 RAM chips, U9, U10, and U11. So that must be what they're talking about when they say the audio RAM. See how it says 8K times 8? That's a RAM chip. So that's going to be like a 6264. But it doesn't say which one it is. So I guess I looked on the board. There are 3 of them. So we might have to just swap one and see what happens. Swap another one, see what happens. A lot of times RAM, you can't really test it in the board. You can use a logic probe or something and just see if you've got signals on the pins. And you might have one pin stuck high or something. But they're probably all running the same. Yeah, see how the same signals are going and everything? So this RAM chip has MA4 through MA12. So even if like one of these pins was stuck and it was pulling down MA7 to make it low instead of pulsing or something, you wouldn't know which one of the 3 chips is doing it. So you kind of just have to shotgun it. If you had an oscilloscope or more expensive equipment, there may be a way that you can try to write to the RAM and see if it reads back and all that, but I don't really have the capability of doing that. So I'm just going to swap them one at a time. But I think what I'll do first is, scrolling through the schematics, if you come up here, these are the voltages that come in and make the display voltages. And the displays, these plasma displays, they run off of like 120 volts, or I think it was a negative 120 volts or something like that. And on that line, you have this 150 microfarad, 160 volt capacitor, and then up here it's something like 60 some volts or something. And on this line you have a 150 microfarad capacitor, 160 volts. So I'm going to replace both of those first and see if that gets rid of that ripple that's rolling through the DMD. That's the filter caps on those voltages, so I would assume that's it, but we'll see. And that one looks horrible, you saw. So we'll swap that first, and then we'll test it and make sure that fixed that, and then we'll move on to messing with the RAM. Change of plans. So I looked, I didn't have these caps anywhere. They're 150, 160s. I've got 100, 160s. I've got 160 100s. That won't work. I don't have anything that'll work, so I'm going to have to order those. So I decided I would start with the RAM. Now the RAM, they've got this label on them. Maybe that'll say on the bottom. Does that say? No, that's not telling us much. They are 65764. HM3-65764, and then it says K5. Okay, so I looked that up, and that crosses it's an 8x8 RAM, a 64K RAM. And that's a 6264, right? So I have 6264s. However, see the little 45 at the end of those? These original ones are capable of 35. They're capable of being a little faster than that, but it's like under certain circumstances. These are 45 all the time. Sometimes that doesn't matter. Sometimes if something's like a 35, a 45 will work, or if something's a 15, a 25 will work. So I have put 45s in there. So I carefully removed them, placed the socket in. Look, I didn't even break any legs. Look at that. I heard these are static sensitive. If so, they're schlonged now. But I went ahead and replaced them. And let's see what we got. Now remember, it's doing 10 bongs. Takes it a second to boot. So we got one bong, and then it immediately just starts blinking. I think that's correct. I think that's what it's supposed to do. All right, now it says factory settings restored. What I've been doing is just turning it off and back on. Look at the LEDs on the power board. Watch this. So you turn it off, and then if you just wait a few seconds and turn it back on, the thing will boot because the power didn't drain out of the caps and everything. So, there we go. That sounded like some sounds, but we can't coin up yet. But maybe it's in a track mode and it'll say something to us. That'd be good. I'd like to hear something. Another thing I figured out was this little guy down here is not broken. That's how it's supposed to be. I looked it up trying to find another one. That plastic is not broken. That's how he looks. It looks like what happens is that he moves over one of these poppers to block the shot from going up. So let's see if we get any sound. It's going to take a while, isn't it? Wonder if I hit the start button, it'll say, "Hey, buddy, put a quarter in." Okay, we got sounds. Okay, so of course there's a sound test, but I can't get any of these buttons to work, and I think it's because of this wire. I think these two black wires are supposed to be together. That's a ground, and it's split, I think. And so, because of that, I think it's killed the ground to all this stuff, because the coin switch doesn't do anything, and those four don't do anything. So I'm going to splice that together real quick and then see if we can get into the test menu and hear some tunes. Some tunes, man. Go look at like some reggae stuff on YouTube and everybody will reply and say, "Good tune, man." All right, folks. It's viewer mail time. We haven't done this in a while. We got in this wonderful letter here. It's addressed to me, Mr. Ronnie Lyons, at Lyons Arcade, and this is our address in Rock Hill. So if you want to send us any mail, we love mail. And this one is interesting. It's from Alvesta. Hard to see it, but let's see if I can zoom in. It's from Alvesta, which I am told is a municipality in Sweden. There's no return address, but it comes from Thomas. So Thomas says, "Hi, Ronnie. I want to thank you for your interesting programs about pinball repair, jukebox repair. Very good." Why, thank you, Thomas. CD Jukebox Rockola Mirage Model 3000X. That's interesting. I have a problem with my Rockola Mirage. The record basket spins all the time. It never stops at home position. I saw you working with the same problem with the Rockola 496. So I wonder if you could pick up on this problem again, but then with the CD Jukebox Mirage, and maybe explain a little bit about how the signal goes from the opto through the mech board and then to the computer, which signals go to, example, stop signal or run signal, and how to measure on different points. This is a lot of job to do, but maybe it can be of joy. Thanks again, Thomas. That is an interesting idea, Thomas. I have an actual Rockola CD Model 1000X, which was their first CD box, I believe. But the problem I had with it was one, it's in horrible shape, and two, I don't have the full schematics for it. So I haven't worked on it yet, but I will in a future video. On the 496, basically on it, you can kind of tell if it's working if that LED is blinking. Basically, it's coming on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off as it goes through that little wheel that goes through it. It's blocking and opening the light. It has a little, what do they call that thing? It's ran by an LED, but there's a little sensor in there, what do they call that? So there's a receiver and a collector, and as that little wheel passes through it, there are holes in the wheel. So if the hole is in front of the light, the receiver sees it and turns on the LED or turns off the LED, and then as it turns a little bit more, now it's blocked, and the LED goes off or is on, and it doesn't see it. So as it's turning on a Rockola 496, at least, which, like you mentioned, I have experience with, the light is blocked and open, and if that LED is coming on and off, well, then you know that board is working properly. So it makes it really easy to diagnose that. But on that one, there's a very simple little circuit like you mentioned that goes through the mech board and then back to the computer, and I haven't really ever had any problems with it. But I could look into that. Maybe I'll do a separate video on that, but you've given me something to think about at least. So well, I'll see what I can do about that. And then we have this other one here. Let me make sure it's not going to give away any. I don't want to dox anybody. You know, we don't want anybody to be doxed. Okay. 2 Ron Lyons. That's my adult name. Care of Joe's Video Games. 139 Caldwell Street, Rock Hill, South Carolina, 29730. That's our address. So this one has a little note somewhere, if I can find it. And it has, check this out, little paint bottles. It's very nice of somebody to send me this. Somebody's blowing me up on my text messages. It's all right. We're doing a viewer mail segment here. Look at this. Okay. So there are 5 of them. So we have blue, and it says, Tamiya Color, Acrylic Paint, Mini, Clear Blue. So what this is it's transparent paint. Made in Japan. Boy, I like that. I was checking to see, right? So there's blue and green, orange, red, and yellow. Alright. And so the note says, this is from Alan. Hi Ron, enjoy your videos, especially the schematics and troubleshooting. Try these clear paints. They may work on a back glass. Thanks for recording, Alan. Why, thank you, Alan. I will try them on something. The deal with the back glasses, though, is we keep running into this problem on the back glass where there's a piece of it missing. I wish I had one laying here I could show you. It's so hard to explain this. So a piece of the back glass will flake off. So there's a area of the glass that has, let's see here. I'll do a drawing with one hand. Let's say it's somebody's face. It's a happy face. And they look like a clown. Okay? So something will happen where, like, for instance, this piece of their face will flake off. Okay? And so then their face is pink, but this place is clear because it's flaked off. So the way we've been doing it is you clear coat the back, and by clear coating it, it makes it so nothing else flakes off. So it kind of freezes it in place where it won't get any worse. But then the problem you have is this part of the back glass has pink paint on it, and then this part has no paint. So to repaint that part back in, you have to mix a paint that matches this color and then paint it back in. It's nearly impossible to do it, though, so that it looks right once you light it back up. Because the problem you run into is this paint ends up being too thick, and this paint is the original style that was silk screened on, and it just looks better. So you end up seeing it, yeah, it's all pink, but this part's darker and stands out, and you can even see brush strokes in it and stuff. It's just hard to pull off. So this may work better if I were to mix the proper color, but the problem you're going to run into is if it's real thin, which if it's transparent, you know, clear paint, it would be really thin. It still wouldn't light up right. And then it would, if you didn't see the paint strokes, you might just not, like, it would just be way too light for this. I don't know. But it's a thing where it's the best way to do it, if you were going to just try to be, you know, Superman, would be to take all the pink off and then repaint all of it, perhaps with the transparent or something, or spray it on, and it might look all even then, but that's a lot of work, and usually we don't have the ability to spend that much time on it, even if I had the talent to do it. But if I can't use these for that, I can use them for something. So I appreciate it, Alan. I'll give it a try on one as a little test, and maybe I can use it on something else if I can't use it on that. So I appreciate you thinking of us and sending them on. So folks, if you have any viewer mail you want to send us. We try to read about everything we get in, unless you're a hater. This is our address, so you can send us some mail if you'd like. But with that said, let's go back to our game. All right, so I put the wire together. It's coming back alive, folks. It decided it wanted to cooperate. Let's see if it'll let me get into the test menu. Yeah. Time and date not set. Okay. We're not going to do that because we're going to test. Because we haven't put batteries on it. Switch edges. Let's not worry about that. We want music. Switch levels. Single switch. Solenoid test. That'd be good for later. Flasher test. I haven't seen any flashers yet. What do you think? They're going to work? Oop. How we do? Yeah, none of the flashers are doing anything. That's all right, though. General illumination. That's good. Here we go. I want to hear some music.
Welcome to NBA Fast Break Pinball. Get ready for some prime time basketball.
You got it! Fast break!
Welcome to NBA Fast Break Pinball.
All right, so I guess we're good. Sounded like everything. There's our display. We still need those freaking caps, though. We don't really need to do that, do we? We know that's messed up. Ordered lamps. Lamp rows and columns. Dip switch test. Motor test. Back box test. Empty balls. Switch edges. Okay. I think we're good on the soundboard. Fix that crap. Alright, so I gotta wait on capacitors, and then we can maybe test this thing out, do a little test, see if the thing will start up. Maybe we'll do that to end the video, because it's going to take a few days to wait on the caps, and I want to move on and do something else before then. So let's see if we can get the thing to start. Alright folks, so we can't really play it because a bunch of the rubber rings are broken and everything, and also I just noticed, I don't know anything about these modern games, but the lockdown bar is the wrong lockdown bar. There's supposed to be one with a button on it that says shoot. So I don't think I can even launch the ball, but we'll see. I've got the harness here. Maybe I can short it out to make it launch.
Welcome to NBA Fast Break Pinball.
All right.
Who's your favorite team?
The Charlotte Hornets. Okay, let's see if I can get it to launch. I'm trying to like stick a wire in the wire. That's not good. You're not really supposed to do that. I'm using a jumper. Let's see if I can get it to do it. I think I got the two wires figured out. But maybe not. Yeah, it ain't working. I might have the wrong wire. Alright, I figured it out. I was pushing the wrong wires together. So let's see if we can get it to shoot the ball. I'll figure out how to make the button happen, but we're just testing for now.
Looks like we're ready for the kickoff.
Flippers are working. Pops are working.
Shoot him up the left ramp.
I tried. Yeah, everything's working. It's just kind of, we can't play it. Oh no, I got to do the switch again. It's the white one and the green one, in case you're wondering. If you ever find yourself in the same predicament, or maybe on Black Rose it does the same thing, it looks like. Ooh.
The home team has it. Oh, he faked himself on that time.
Hey!
For three.
We made the shot. All right, looks pretty cool.
If your score matches the winning car number, you're going home a winner. Oh, too bad. No match. And ladies and gentlemen, I am out of here.
It's showing some of the players from the team. That's pretty cool. All right, so we've got it up and playing. It's just, we need to do the play field. I need to order some parts. I need to figure out how to put the button in the lockdown bar that I've got.
Fast break.
You know, am I going to drill a hole through the lockdown bar? You're damn right I'm going to drill a hole through the lockdown bar. I found a little piece of plastic that was missing over here too. It was stuck over here. And I've been looking at pictures online. It looks like nothing goes here. So I don't think that's missing. I don't think anything's missing. It just needs cleaned up and serviced. And we need to fix the lockdown bar. And we need to work on the back box and all of that. So maybe in the next video we'll go ahead and clean up the play field. I don't, you know, of course I can't play it with the rings broken and with all of the dirt on the play field. So we'll see about that. So leave your comments below. We're learning as we go. Pretty cool. What I'm trying to show you with these folks is that anybody can fix this stuff if you just think about it logically, you know. Like, I've never worked on this particular game, but we've been able to get it from not working to up and running. So, hope you enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you, and we'll see you on the next video. Hey, if you like these newer games, I have done a few of them, so here's a video of a newer one that we did a while back.